Americans don't always have the best image worldwide, whether due to involvement in global affairs or behavior of tourists abroad. While every country has its own issues, American matters often make headlines. Today at TrailTrove, we'll explore 10 places where Americans might not receive the warmest reception, considering both public sentiment and government policies. Starting with number 10, Saudi Arabia. Previously, obtaining a visa was challenging, unless for religious reasons. However, recent changes, especially regarding women's rights, indicate shifting norms. Americans may not always feel welcome due to cultural differences. Simple gestures like refraining from pointing fingers or showing public displays of affection are crucial. Respecting customs, such as removing shoes before entering a home, is vital. Moreover, dressing modestly, especially for women, and showing deference to elders are key considerations in Saudi society. Disregarding these nuances can lead to uncomfortable situations, contributing to America's reputation abroad. At number 9, we have Russia. Our relationship with Russia has been tense for a long time, dating back to before World War II and the Cold War era. Despite occasional alliances like during World War II, there's often been friction. Nowadays, obtaining a visa to visit Russia can be quite a hassle, especially given recent tensions, particularly due to America's involvement in the Ukraine conflict. The Russian government's stance towards Americans is far from welcoming, and many citizens tend to align with their government's views, influenced by pervasive propaganda. It's advisable to reconsider travel plans to Russia at this time, given the strained relations and potential risks involved. At number 8, we have Cuba, a destination with a beautiful tropical charm. However, due to long-standing embargoes, Americans are prohibited from visiting. Despite having a military base on the island, travel restrictions have been in place since 1958. Some individuals attempt to travel through alternate routes, like Canada, but this is risky as the US government offers no assistance if travelers encounter trouble in Cuba. While there are limited categories under which Americans can legally visit Cuba, such as for educational purposes, financial transactions remain challenging due to restrictions on US dollars. Moving on to number 7, Iraq. It's a country still grappling with the aftermath of a significant war. Despite gradual improvements, hostility towards Americans persists among both locals and the government. Traveling to Iraq is strongly discouraged by the US government due to ongoing risks, including the presence of groups hostile to Americans. Visa applications may be rejected without explanation, making it a risky destination for American travelers. Before we move forward, which country do you think will top this list? Share your thoughts in the comments below and stick around till the end to find out if you guessed correctly. While you're here, please support TrailTrove by clicking like, subscribe, and the notification bell icons. This really helps our channel a lot. Now on to the next one. At number 6, we have Yemen, a country in Asia that Americans should steer clear of. The US government strongly advises against travel to Yemen due to ongoing civil unrest, terrorism, rampant corruption, and the high risk of kidnapping. The situation is so dire that the US Embassy shut down in 2015, leaving Americans without official assistance in emergencies. Criminal elements in Yemen exploit this vulnerability, making it an extremely dangerous place for foreigners. The lack of proper infrastructure adds to the peril, with paved roads scarce even in urban areas. Moving on to number 5, Venezuela. It's another destination to avoid due to its authoritarian regime and widespread human rights abuses. Unlike some other South American countries with functioning embassies, Venezuela's government is notorious for corruption and repression. Human rights organizations have documented severe violations, including arbitrary arrests and political killings. The Venezuelan people generally harbor negative sentiments towards Americans, and with the closure of the US Embassy in 2019, American travelers have minimal official support if they encounter trouble. At number 4, Afghanistan stands as another perilous destination for Americans. Decades of conflict, starting from the 1970s when it became a socialist republic, have left the country in turmoil. The presence of terrorist groups, rampant kidnapping, and the absence of a formal tourism industry make it an unsafe place for tourists. The closure of the US Embassy in Kabul in 2021 has further exacerbated the risks, leaving Americans vulnerable to unlawful detentions and attacks. A statement issued by the State Department warns that traveling to any part of Afghanistan is dangerous due to the high risk of kidnapping or violence targeting US citizens. The government lacks the resources to offer emergency assistance to Americans in Afghanistan, and its ability to aid detained citizens is severely limited. Since coming into power, the Taliban has increasingly restricted the rights of women, barring them from workplaces, schools, and public areas like parks. Understandably, prospective tourists often inquire about clothing requirements, particularly regarding head coverings, when contacting untamed borders. While every journey has its advantages and disadvantages, those who have visited Afghanistan advise that it's a destination suited only for the most daring travelers. At number 3, we have Turkmenistan, a country that limits tourist entry to just 10,000 visitors per year. Despite its beautiful capital Ashgabat, the government tightly controls all aspects of life. The country has a history of bizarre regulations, such as banning dog ownership and restricting the colors of cars on the roads. While the people are generally friendly, tourists are required to have a private guide throughout their stay, which can be costly. Turkmenistan's heavy government presence and surveillance make it challenging for American travelers to explore freely. Moving on to number 2, Somalia. It's notorious for its extreme poverty and instability. Americans may recall Black Hawk Down, which highlighted the dangers in the region. With a staggering 70% of the population living below the poverty line, Somalia ranks lowest on the Human Development Index. The US government strongly advises against travel to Somalia, citing high risks of terrorist attacks, crimes, and kidnapping. Roadblocks demanding payment are common. There's little recourse for travelers who find themselves in trouble. At the top of the list, number 1 is North Korea, where Americans are outright banned from visiting. The repressive regime tightly controls information and access to the outside world. Visitors are closely monitored by government guides who also serve as propagandists. Taking photos requires approval, and any perceived negative depiction of the country is swiftly dealt with. North Korea's isolationist policies and strict surveillance make it one of the most inaccessible and dangerous destinations for American travelers. While the perception of the United States has seen some improvement globally since the transition to the Biden administration, there are still pockets of the world where Americans may feel unwelcome due to differing views and geopolitical tensions. Now, we'd like to hear from you. Do you think global perceptions of the US will continue to improve in the coming years? Or are there challenges that might hinder this progress? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this information valuable, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel for more insightful content, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.